Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan, and with me is returning Katie from Cutscenes.
Hello. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. I'm excited to get to chat games again.
Yes, for sure. I'm super excited.
hmm And today we're going to be talking about Metro 2033. Oh, actually, I guess before we jump into that, do you want to tell people real quick about Cutscenes, where to find it? I should have done that.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should have done that too. Yeah, I'm on a podcast. I co host with two friends called Cutscenes, a video game movie podcast. It is a seasonal podcast where each episode focuses on a different video game, movie, or TV show. And we get together and discuss and gives our takes, our likes, our dislikes. We've got some fun segments in there. We play some games. Yeah, no, it's a good time.
Yes, fully agree. It's a great time. You should definitely check it out. It's a fun show. I've been laughing along a lot this season listening in. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely check that out. Also, Katie was on an episode about Abzu in January, I think, at the beginning of the year. So check that out too if you want to hear more of us talking about games. But yeah, I guess with that, we'll jump into why we're here, Metro 2033. Would you want to get that description for us?
Sure, I can do that. Okay, so Metro 2033. Set in the shattered subway of a post-apocalyptic Moscow, Metro 2033 is a story of intensive underground survival, where the fate of mankind rests in your hands. In 2013, the world was devastated by an apocalyptic event, annihilating almost all mankind and turning the Earth's surface into a poisonous wasteland. A handful of survivors took refuge in the depths of the Moscow underground, and human civilization entered a new dark age.
Awesome. Thank you. And then just a little background on the game itself. It was developed by 4A Games, who really has just made the Metro series. So Metro Last Light is the second game, and then Metro Exodus is the most recent one. And then also, this game is based on the novel of the same name by Dmitry Glukhovsky. Very Russian name that I probably butchered. But yeah, this game is a not direct adaptation, but I think it's pretty good as to what the novel is, from my understanding. And then the later games and novels, I think, splinter off a little more.
Yeah, I haven't read those books, and I've never played a Metro game before. So I was excited to dive into this because I didn't really know much about it.
Yeah, same thing. I'd never played any Metro before this either, and I just had friends say it's so cool, you should check it out, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, here we are. So I guess before we get into kind of a recap of the story, I felt like there were kind of two questions that are important to answer for ourselves and to hear from the audience, from listeners about the game. And the first one being is which mode we played on. So the game offers two modes if you have the Metro Redux, which is survival, which is set up with like limited supplies and ammo, lower reload speeds, tougher enemy AI, and this is how the original Metro game was created, I guess. And then there's also a Spartan style, which is more action oriented. It gives players more resources, probably more first-person shootery type thing. And that's how Metro Last Light, the sequel, I guess, is more set up. So when you play on the Redux, it gives you the option to choose how to play. So how did you play?
So I debated this at the beginning because I had heard that this is a creepy game. So I didn't want to, but I picked survival anyway, just because it
Ooh.
said on it that it was the original, like OG way to play it. So I'm like, well, I might as well do that. I've never played it before. So I went survival mode.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I think that will be good. I'm interested to see how our experiences differ with this, because I went Spartan style. I went that way because I thought it would be a little easier, and I was scared that I would
Right?
I thought it'd be a little easier, and so I was worried that I would either get stuck or that I would get too scared playing it the original way. And so I was like, I want to hedge my bets in my favor.
Yeah, for sure. I totally get that.
Yeah. Then we've got some feedback from other people to see what they did. BT Ben on Twitter says both. It makes it a completely different game when you play it each way. So that's interesting to hear.
Chris on Twitter said Spartan. And Morgan on Twitter said, originally on the Xbox 360, the game was much more immersive, taking away HUDs and having to look at the calosh to see how much ammo was left. The Ranger mode DLC kind of adds this back in, not for the faint of heart. Comparable in difficulty to realism mode for Rainbow Six games. Interesting.
Yeah, that is. Least Radio on Reddit says, I played it on Spartan because survival sounded scary. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Carol on Reddit said, I completed the game both on survival and Spartan, but I did Spartan first.
And Rogue on Reddit, he said both also. I've done more than one playthrough. And a leg on Reddit played survival.
All right. So it looks like people kind of played a variety of ways, have gone and done both. And I think that's cool hearing that it is a different game playing each way. I think this is a game that would truly probably be worth a second playthrough just based on how these sound already. Like, normally I don't go back to games a lot, but this one seems like it would actually be a pretty different experience, like playing survival horror-y almost, or like shooter style.
Mm-hmm. It's not a very long game either, so it would be doable. Like, I don't typically replay games either, unless I really, really love them. But like I said, it's not very long, so if you really, really enjoyed it, I'd totally see playing it again.
Mm-hmm. Because I think it took me like 10 hours, maybe? Something like that.
Yeah, probably about that.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely doable if you wanted to replay. And so I guess our second kind of big question, I think that's important before jumping into the game, is what our favorite weapons were. So the game is set up as sort of a first-person shooter. Obviously, like with the game modes, sometimes you have less ammo, so it's less FPS-y in some ways, but your weapons nonetheless are fun and play a key part in the game. So what were your favorite weapons kind of through the game for you?
So I don't know how it was if you had tons and tons of ammo. I wasn't like super shy on ammo, but I still had to kind of rotate through my guns. So I had to have like 3 different ammo types. So I loved the shotgun. Like if I had enough ammo for the shotgun, that was kind of my go-to. And then, I liked the Shambler. And then later on, I got this bi-gun, which was like a revolver shotgun type thing.
Ooh.
It's very similar to the Shambler, but it just, I don't know, it felt faster. Yeah, it felt faster to shoot. So I liked that. And then, what else? The Kalash. Is it the Kalash?
I think you're right.
Yeah. The good one. The good machine, like semi near the end. I think that's what that one was called. And then I usually had a revolver as my third. So yeah.
Nice.
And then also the fire grenades. Made a lot of use of those. Those were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were awesome. That's cool. Yeah, for me, playing Spartan, I had a lot of ammo, but I'd run out sometimes. So I did have to use different guns. I didn't just like stick with one the whole time. And they also had ammo caps, so you couldn't get like, hundreds of bullets for one type of gun or something. Like it would cap out even in this. So you didn't, and that cap was like not super, super high. So you did have to rotate, which I think was good. I think this game did a really good job at different guns were useful for different situations, and it actually felt that way versus in other like first-person shooter type games, I might just have a gun I like and then I just only use that the whole time. This game definitely did a good job of having you use your arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally agree.
So for me, my favorites were shotgun also. That was huge. Anytime I was like where I thought monsters would be, I was shotgun the whole time. And then I also thought that the throwing knives were really satisfying when you'd sneak up on like the Nazis and like throw a knife at them. Oh man, that was very enjoyable.
So I am a not run and gun, but like I don't typically go stealthy unless it's like super advantageous. Typically, I just go in and I kill everybody.
Ooh,
one
okay.
way or another. So I did not throw a single knife this entire game. I saw your note
awesome.
that you had that you used throwing knives. I was like, oh yeah, there were throwing knives. About that, because I never used them.
That's awesome. Yeah, mine, like, I'd try to do that, and then sometimes I'd just end up in the firefight running gun mode anyway. But a couple times that I got it to work, it was very satisfying. Let's see, what others thought. Clarence on Twitter said, I like the shotguns, like the duplet and the shambler, up close and personal. And then Morgan says, late in the game, the pneumatic guns, both Helsing and Tikar, great for silent kills and findable, retrievable ammo. Mid-game VSV with night vision. There are some parts where night vision is pretty essential for stealth. Early game, the iconic Kalash. So quite a few different guns kind of through the game that he really enjoyed.
And then Rascata on Reddit. I had so much fun with the 20 shots shotgun. Where was this 20 shots shotgun? I don't know what this is.
I don't think I got that either. I didn't get that either. That sounds awesome.
I want that. That's amazing. Anyway, Carol on Reddit. My fave gun is either the bastard gun or the shambler.
And then Oleg on Reddit said assault rifle. And then Rogue on Reddit said unpopular opinion, but I like the bastard gun, only with the attachments. Also, you can never go wrong with the good old revolver. Effective against mutants and humans, even armored humans. So, yeah, cool. So, all right, I feel like that sort of sets a stage for sort of probably how we played this game a little bit, and I feel like is a good jumping off point to be able to jump into the game itself, talking through the story of Metro and sort of our experience with it. So, the game begins. We are up on the surface with a couple fellow soldiers, and monsters are attacking. Also, I guess through this, there are lots of different types of monsters, but I'm probably just going to keep calling them monsters. They're different mutants. Some of them look like, I don't know, like wolves, basically, I guess. And in this, you see basically like a herd of them kind of circling your guys. You hear the sounds of them. It looks like a fuck situation. It's just getting worse. It ultimately results in a flying monster, which has like giant wings, and it comes down and like grabs you and seemingly kills you. It's a total shit show, and you're like, what is going on? Like, and you feel very not in control at this part.
Yeah, for sure. Just with like the number of monsters that are running around, and then also just the way it like kind of takes the controller out of your hand. Like when it grabs you, you're just like, okay, I'm just along for the ride here. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's, become of me. I don't know where we're going. Like, yeah, no, a little bit, little all over the place.
Yeah, it really is. And I was like, did we just see our death? And like, what? And then, like, it was just wild. And then it says 8 days earlier, and it just flashes us back, and we begin the journey to how we get to this point kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, are we like starting with our death in mind and we work our way to it? Like, what's going on? So kind of a wild way to start their game, and I thought was, a fun way to get things going. So 8 days earlier, you pick up with Artyom, that's your character's name, inside the metro station that you live in. You're walking through it. You see a bunch of books of Metro 2033 there, which I thought was kind of fun, artist insertion. And you walk around the metro station, and you ultimately go to greet Hunter, who is your uncle, and he's a ranger, so he's sort of kind of renowned, it seems, and kind of respected in your metro area. While you're greeting him, a bunch of monsters show up through the vents, and you have to fight them off. You do that, and Hunter goes after them and is like, I need to go investigate this problem earlier. Like, if the monsters have found their way to our metro station, this could be bad for our, like, communities. So I'm going to go after them to try to figure this out. Here's my medallion. If I don't come back, go take this to Miller, who is, like, the captain of the Rangers. If you take it to him, he'll know what to do. I need you to do this if I don't come back. And he's at a different station called Paulus. So, this is your journey. If I don't come back, Hunter doesn't return. And so you have this obligation, I guess, of, okay, I promised Hunter I would do this. Even though I've never been outside of my metro station, I've grown up here. I'm going to go on this adventure for him.
Yeah, Hunter kind of set himself up for failure, I feel like. When you say, here's my medallion, in case I die, well, then you're dead. I was like, oh, no, you're dead. Bye, Hunter.
Bye, Hunter, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that kind of sets up the whole, the objective of the game.
Yeah, it sets up your objective. Yeah, this is our team's mission now. And so to kind of get it started, he volunteers for a patrol that's going to take you to another station. What we find out is that there are a bunch of stations kind of scattered through, metro stations scattered through here. Some of them are inhabited by people, and you also have kind of different factions that inhabit them, and each one sort of is its own smaller community, but there's also kind of bigger communities at large. So it seems like there's sort of a general Russian community of general people that our team is a part of. There's some other ones that are part of it, and Rangers are almost like, I don't know, the Peace Corps in a sense. Like they're not necessarily part of any faction, but they kind of operate for the good of all the factions.
I guess that's the thing. I will have some critiques for this game. I feel like some people are not going to be happy with me, but because I know a lot of people like adore these games. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that the characters and the story and the setting was a little vague. Not in the sense of like I thought the environment was great, and the whole just like the eeriness and the way that you can hear your breathing under the gas mask when you put it on, and just certain things about it were set the environment really, really well. But like all the characters just kind of blew right past me. Like I didn't really care about anybody.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Personally.
No, yeah, that's important. If you don't get that buy-in, that definitely hurts. I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So, from here, I guess, though, you continue your journey through the stations. At the next station, you are on a cart. You find out that the way they travel are kind of by hand carts that you, like, pump to make go.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is how you travel in the post-apocalypse. Yeah. Dang.
And you go by all these, like, broken down subway cars because those aren't in use anymore, obviously. So, like, we're going back to mine carts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was funny to see the first time. You're like, oh, okay, this is what they do, which I feel like I'd maybe rather walk at that point, but I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it's better.
No, probably not. All the monsters are chasing you. You know, you take what you can get.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I guess I wouldn't want to be caught walking if monsters come. I guess I'd rather take my chance being on the cart and, like, hoping that if I'm pumping, the guy shooting is good at his job.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, you go on your first cart adventure, and you head down to the next station. One of the people that's with you gets killed, but the others make it. You're at the next station. It's a place called Riga, and the station is on lockdown because of the recent monster attack. The, I guess, military police type of people aren't letting anyone in or out. It's all shut down. And so you're trying to figure out a way to continue your journey to get to Paulus, to meet Miller, all of this. And you run into a guy named Bourbon, who is a smuggler and knows a secret way out that goes through a tunnel that's maybe less known or not known about or whatever. So you follow him. And Bourbon leads you through this tunnel that no one uses. And on the way, you've got to kill some bandits. So there are, again, other factions kind of through this. So you find out there are like bandits, there are communists, there are Nazis. I think there might be a couple other ones, but those are sort of the main ones you get introduced to along the way. And it sort of provides the not every human you meet is friendly kind of thing, which in a general point is absurd that people, like, you're in an apocalypse like this and there's monsters, but you still fight each other. Like, they're so dumb.
Oh, no, that would totally happen. Yeah. They'd be like, well, we have this much food and, like, these are our people, It's how, I feel like that's just, like, human nature that people, especially when you're afraid, right? Mm-hmm. That people, like, consolidate into their groups. I don't know. I'm not very optimistic, I guess, about our post-apocalyptic fate.
No, I think you're right. I think it's realistic. It's just especially like over quote unquote politics, like Nazis and communism. Like, why would you hold to ideals at all? Like, I could kind of get if you're like bandits and you have like these are my 20 people and we just rob everyone else. Like, it's bad, but it makes more sense to me than like I'm gonna hold to this ideal. Like, what? The world's over. Like, there aren't ideals anymore.
No, I can get that. It's like your like hierarchy of needs, right? Like, no, we don't have food and there's monsters coming out of the walls. Never mind, your political beliefs, like that doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, I know, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of wild. But yeah, I think you are right. This is what people would do. And yeah, I guess ultimately introduced is right. Not everyone's safe. So you're not simply killing monsters in this game. You've got adversaries that are people that you're going to have to kill along the way. And like Bourbon, you may meet good people along the way too, or people who will help you. Kind of the big things that happen as you traverse the tunnels with Bourbon, you cross this like rickety bridge that's like rusted and stuff. That was kind of creepy. I thought I would fall off that for sure. And then you go through catacombs, which are super creepy and gross. And this is sort of the environment you get a lot through the game now, is that since you're underground everywhere, where it's like most of the time, everything under these tunnels are pretty like foul and dead people everywhere and all of that.
And spiders. You didn't tell me that there would be spiders when you when you offered up this game. I was like, oh, there's webs of spiders. Oh, come on. I wasn't happy about that.
I didn't know there was spiders either. I was not a fan of that either. Yeah. Especially later in the game when you meet some bigger ones.
That was my fear. I was like, well, if there's little spiders, there's probably going to be big spiders. Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear your experience later in the game when that comes, because if it was like mine, we probably both hated it. Then also, while you're traveling with Bourbon, Artyom has a vision of sorts where he like sort of like blacks out almost, and he has to interact with something that's sort of happening in real life, but he also sees kind of the monsters in the distance, and it seems they're trying to communicate with him. It's sort of an odd thing, but it sets a precedent that happens a couple more times throughout the game, where you get these sort of vision-y, blackout type moments.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with that is that it was never clear to me what I was supposed to be doing within the vision. Because if you don't do the right thing, like if you don't walk in the right direction, you die. But it's unclear how you die. And so I was like, what? Why did I die? So then I would try and do something else. Like I was like, I guess I'll walk faster. Like, I don't know. And then I would make it through. But it wasn't clear to me why what was happening was happening. So I did like that the visions were happening, though. I was like, oh, this is an added layer that I wasn't expecting at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a little bit mysterious. So I enjoyed that.
My experience was the same. I didn't understand it. Like when you die, I was like, oh, did I walk the wrong way? Did I not walk quick enough?
Yeah. Should I stand still? Should I move? I don't know. It's not clear at all.
Yeah. So I had that, but I did like that too. I didn't expect that. I was like, okay, what does this mean? What, yeah, how will this go? From Bourbon, with Bourbon, you continue, make it to a market that's just kind of a friendly marketplace. You're able to resupply. This kind of introduces, I guess, other pieces of the mechanic. For instance, if you're on the surface world, you need a gas mask, so you can buy like gas masks at these places. You can upgrade your gun. You can buy bullets, buy med packs, that sort of stuff. And it sort of sets up okay, you're probably going to come to communities along the way, and that can be a way to sort of stockpile stuff, along with the things that you kind of scavenge along the way from dead people.
Yeah, no, and the customizing guns thing was neat. There wasn't a ton of variety, but there was more than I expected. Like, I was like, oh, I can buy guns. And then I'm like, ooh, I can customize my own guns. Excellent. I love customizing my guns. Love it. So yeah, I was down for that.
Yeah, me too. I like that. It was fun once you started getting into, like, for me, getting, like, silencers and stuff like that, because I think I played a little more stealthily, so I was like, ooh, I like this. This is nice to be able to sneak up on people and snag them, kind of thing. Also, while you're at this market, you find out that Bourbon owes some people money here. And so they let you in because Bourbon said, he's got the thing that can pay them back. While you're there, Bourbon says, okay, come with me. We've got to go to this gate. And you go to the gate, and the guard is like, hey, the boss said you owe him money. Like, you got to go see him. And Bourbon was like, oh, don't you know I already paid him off? It's fine. And the guard was like, oh, okay, cool. And so he opens the gate for him, and then Bourbon's like, run. I didn't pay them off. We've got to go. So you head up to the surface world for the first time. You're above ground. And when you're above ground, you have to have a gas mask on. If you don't, the air will, suffocate and poison you, basically.
Which, and also some places underground, too. It'll just be, like, have poisonous air in certain places if, like, the radiation is high or something. So I like the gas mask element. One, that if it gets damaged enough, you have to, like, find another one. So, like, if you're getting hit and you're seeing it start to crack, you're like, oh, I can't get hit much more. Not because of your health, but, like, it's almost like a separate health bar that you kind of have to manage. And then also, the filters. I have an issue with the filters, and we'll talk about it at some point later in the game. But, oh, the filters. So basically you have to have a good supply of them, because every couple minutes you have to swap it out, because the one that you're using is basically toast. So you kind of have to make sure that you're searching all the rooms and getting enough stuff, or buying them from the market.
Yep. I fucked up, actually, at the beginning of this game when I played. I got to this part and I went outside and I didn't buy any masks. So I kept dying in this part because I fucked up and didn't buy masks and, like, had one filter or something stupid.
Oh, I already had a mask. I don't know where I got one.
I think I had one mask and one filter. And so I kept dying once you cross the river, but not before you, like, go to the playground kind of spot.
So was it already checkpointed for you? Like, were you screwed?
It was checkpointed, and so I was stuck, and I, like, kept doing it, and I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Did I, like, break the game? But then I was like, wait, I'll just go back to I looked online, and I saw the market sold them, so I just went back, and I didn't lose that much time, actually. I only lost, like, 15 or 20 minutes, like, it wasn't very long, which was good, but there was a bit of time, like, I was like, did I just fuck this game up? Like, I was concerned for a minute, but then I solved it and it was my fault. But I had a moment of fear where I was like, did I just get stuck on this game really early?
Yeah, my story is similar to that, but like I said, we'll get to it.
Okay, cool. You're obviously far better that it took you a lot longer to get there. I'm very early, and I was like, fuck, I can't beat the game, and it's been 2 hours. Like, I was like feeling a lot of shame. I was like, I need to figure this out, because, like, I'm gonna feel real bad if I'm like, Katie, I can't beat this game. I got stuck really early.
But that wouldn't be your fault. I would consider that to be the game's fault, especially if it happens right at the beginning. That's the game's fault for not equipping you enough, or telling you how important it is, I guess, in some way, or maybe having, like, a shorter segment where you already have this many filters, but you can make it through, but you can barely make it through, to kind of clue you in, like, oh no, I need to be stocked up. Like, I feel like certain things could have been introduced better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think if I wouldn't have looked, if the internet didn't exist and I didn't have a walkthrough, this game might have died here for me, because I wouldn't know what to do. But being able to look back and find out, but that's good. I'm glad you have my back a little bit and push the game a little. That's nice to hear. So you're above ground and you are able to scavenge a lot. There's a lot of dead people on the surface. underground is fucked up, but the above world is also equally fucked up. It looks like I don't know, nuclear war destroyed everything almost, and so everything's like gray and toxic. And there's monsters, lots of monsters on the surface. You encounter a flying monster, and you have to run away from it. Ultimately, you do end up back in the tunnels. Inside the tunnels, you and Bourbon make your way through, and you find a new crew of bandits. And Bourbon goes down thinking, I know these guys. I can talk to them and, work out a deal so we can get passage. You get the vibe. I mean, you already knew this from before, but Bourbon's kind of a grifter and kind of just plays kind of all sides of things. And, I don't know, tells people what they want to hear, brings them supplies, that sort of stuff. But his plan doesn't go well, and they arrest him and take him to the bust.
Yeah, he predictably gets himself into trouble. I was like, oh yeah, of course. That wasn't going to last very long.
Right. Yep. Wasn't going to last long. When he jumped out of like the air vent you guys were in, he left his weapons behind. So you're like, okay, cool. I get another gun. And it was better than the guns I had before. So I was glad to have it. And you kill your way through the bandits. After you kill your way through the bandits, you ultimately make it to where Bourbon is, where he's with the bandit leader. And you have sort of a standoff with them for a moment, and the bandit leader and Bourbon both end up dead in this moment. They sort of both shoot each other at the same time kind of thing. Right after this, a guy named Khan jumps out of the air vent above you and says, hey, the other bandits are coming. It wasn't your fault Bourbon died, but come with me. You need to get out of here, otherwise you're going to be dead like him.
Yeah, so you kind of get your new friendo to kind of lead you forward. And then you end up going through these tunnels, I believe. And then those were weird and creepy. I feel like we bumped up the creep level for this. Because now there's like, not just like visions, but like it's kind of half, there are like these ghost type figures that are kind of standing that you kind of have to walk very carefully by. And is it Khan that does like some kind of chanting or like some prayer or something to kind of make them step aside so you can even walk past them?
Yeah, he does.
So yeah, no, that was like I said, it added to the creepiness. I was like, oh, because I just thought they're gonna grab me. Like, there's no way. But no, you make it through just fine.
Yeah, the creep level, like you said, really ramps up here. You're like, and you're glad to have Khan there. You're like, okay, that's something I feel like RTM comments on at different points through the game is, if so-and-so wasn't here, I would have died by now. But he keeps getting helpers who are able to guide him through. And yeah, this haunted tunnel that Khan's able to lead us through. I think we find out that something like 200 people died in this tunnel, but for some reason their spirits can't leave, and so they just continue to travel the tunnel, I guess. And that Khan was among those 200 people, but he's the only one who lived or something. And so it's sort of like a haunted tunnel that only he can go through because he has that chant, but I guess he's connected with these people in some manner.
Yeah, I guess because he was one of them, right? Like that's his community, I guess. I think that's why.
Yeah, that must be it, is why he has that. Also, something that's in this tunnel that you get introduced to that's kind of wild is anomalies, which are basically like a giant electric ball that like hovers down the train tracks, and is like vicious and just kills whatever it's near.
Which was very strange to me. I didn't understand. I maybe I still don't understand. But so that, because we kind of get there, is that more of like the alien-ish element? In the like mutant dogs are like a separate thing entirely? Because what's it called? The anomaly will kill anything. Like, it'll just rip through and kill whatever is there, whether it's people or it's the monsters. So I was kind of like, I don't know what this is, and I don't know what's happening, but it keeps working out for me where it keeps killing monsters. So I guess I'm okay with them being here.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right, is that the anomaly is ultimately connected to the aliens, but maybe like the mutant dog monsters are different than the aliens, which...
And I don't even know if they're aliens. Are they?
Yeah, they might not be aliens either. I don't know either.
No, I get an alien vibe from them, but I don't think they actually are, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Cuz in the visions they certainly feel very alien vibey for sure.
Yeah, they've got that lanky kind of tall person
Big head.
alien thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. It makes me wonder like how the books go into all of this. Like if there are pieces or questions that we probably have along the way and we'll have at the end of this that the books would tell us about or not. I don't know. And not that the game should answer whatever it puts in, but I wonder if it would make more sense.
It does intrigue me about the books, actually. I think the story would be something that would interest me, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I thought that too after finishing this. I was like, maybe I gotta check out that book like that. I don't know. I really like the world, and I think it's super interesting, so I would be into spending more time in it, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, with Khan, though, you do get out of your haunted tunnel, and you find an outpost. When you're at the outpost, Khan has you defend it with them, and team up with some guys to kill more monsters. After this, Khan directs you to a communist station, and he says, you're going to go here. I've got a friend named Andrew who will kind of guide you on the next leg of your journey. When you get into the outpost, the communists try to arrest you immediately, and you run away. And so you have sort of a chase scene moment where you and another guy they were trying to arrest are just like running, turning abruptly. It felt like something almost out of like a new James Bond movie where you're just like dodging through stuff, running different ways abruptly, people shooting at you, kind of craziness. It ends in the guy who's with you gets killed, and then you like jump off a balcony, and then Andrew pulls you into his like home secretly and shuts the door, and the communists can't find you.
Yeah, that whole segment was kind of fun just because it was different from what you had played up to then. And I think you're cuffed too, so like you can't fight, you can't do anything. You just kind of have to make your way through this area as quickly as you can.
Yes, yeah, good call out. Yeah, you are cuffed, and yeah, it did feel like that. You just had to run fast, and it was a fun kind of game change of pace for the gameplay. Of like, it felt like watching a Bond movie or something that would happen in an Uncharted game or something. Like, just suddenly like, oh shit, and you're just running. I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that. But after Andrew saves you, he gets your cuffs off, he gets you to resupply real quick, and he sneaks you out on a cart that is going to the front lines to fight the Nazis. So it's like a rail cart that has a bunch of people above it, and then you're kind of hidden in like a luggage compartment underboard almost kind of thing. So you can hear them all like talking about going to fight the Nazis above you and like the ration cards they get or something. And you're kind of under there, and this will be sort of your way to ultimately get to Miller to give him Hunter's message. At the front line, you've got the communists and the Nazis fighting each other. I thought this was maybe my favorite part of the game in terms of how fun it was, which was there's like train tunnels that have bridges that are kind of going back and forth. And for me, at least, I went on like an opposite side of the bridge, had like a sniper rifle with a silencer, and I just like killed all the communists, then I killed all the Nazis, and then like kept going. And that was very fun, I thought. I don't know if you had fun with this section.
Wow, look at you. That was fancy.
Yeah, it was great. It was super fun.
I also killed everyone, but I just kind of made my way kind of kind of like cover shootery. Like I was just kind of running around and shooting everybody and like, hiding behind stuff, reloading, shooting people. Like it wasn't, I wasn't slick about it. I just kind of run and gunned it.
Okay.
But also it was a lot of fun. Just like the setup of the environment was fun.
Really fun environment. For the Nazi part where you run and gun and you go like past the like bus and through the bus and stuff, did you fight them there or did you run back to the communist like side to get the big gun?
No, I just kind of ran through.
Oh wow.
I didn't really use the big gun.
You're a badass. That's awesome. I tried to do that.
It's probably just poor planning, let's be honest, but that's what I ended up doing.
Well, it worked out. I think that's fucking cool. I I tried to do that and I just got killed a bunch at that little section. So then I went backwards and like kind of drew them to me and then went to the big gun, and then when they came I killed them all and then I could keep going. So I had to maneuver around me not being the best running gunner at that spot. They just kept killing me. So but that's badass that you just ran in there and fuck shit up. I love that. So you keep killing people, kill a bunch of Nazis. You ultimately kill your way to the Nazi base, and you get captured by a couple guys, and they're kind of debating back and forth what to do with you. Should they just kill you now? Should they take you to a capture thing? And while they're kind of debating that, a couple rangers show up and kill them. Their names are Ullman and Pavel. You show them Hunter's coin, and they're like, oh, we know Hunter. We shouldn't even talk to you about what's going on. We've got to take you to Miller. And you're like, oh, perfect. That's who I want to see. So you begin your journey with these guys. You and Pavel take the rail car. Ullman is going to sneak to the meetup place because the rail car can only take 2 people. So on the rail car, you end up in almost a chase scene of fighting Nazis from the rail car. So you like drive by like a depot and you shoot a bunch of Nazis who are on foot, but then some of them get into vehicles and chase you and you have to shoot them from their vehicles. So you get sort of your chase scene moment here.
Yeah, it's kind of your classic, you're manning the gun on a moving vehicle type of scene.
Yep. Yeah.
It was good. Like it wasn't anything like exceptional, but like, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't feel like it was anything terribly different, but it's fun in the way that those scenes are fun. For sure.
Yeah, there's a reason why why we just keep doing it, right? Because it's fun to do.
Yeah, 100%. So from here, you make it through the Nazi area, and monsters attack you. In the attack, Pavel dies, but you manage to escape and you make it to a depot. At the depot, there's a group of soldiers who are fighting the monsters, and they say, hey, you're here. You're going to fight with us to help this station escape. So a horde of monsters are coming at this station. This station is on its kind of last stand kind of moment, and they're trying to buy time for the, like, I guess, civilians of sorts to escape. Anyone who can get out of the station before the monsters kill their way through it. And so you stand your ground with them. Ultimately, through the fighting, all the other soldiers die except for you. And you, I think in this, pass out somewhere. And you get up, there's just dead people and monsters around you, so you head into the station to try to help out how you can.
Yeah, that was probably the first small little, what's the word I'm looking for? Not a place setting, a set piece where I was like, oh, this is really hard. Like, it took me like a few tries to get through it. And each time I was like, oh, I think I'm just about there, and then I would die. I'm like, it probably took me like good 4 or 5 tries. So yeah, it got a little tricky. And all of a sudden there's new monsters like crawling on the walls, like, shooting stuff at you. I was like, oh, that's new, which is nice, because up till then I think all we'd pretty much seen is just the like big dog things, and then the like the flying dragon looking type things.
Yeah, you're right. And the wall ones are harder to kill too. They take more shots.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, again, just adding to that like wrinkle. I died a bit here too, I think. Because it's mayhem so fast. There's so many coming at you and you're like just running around, just like shooting twice and then trying to run away while you reload and not get hit. Like it was craziness.
That is one thing where I would like to even just replay that chapter on Spartan mode just to see if it's a lot faster reloading or not, because it takes forever to reload on survival. And I know it says in the thing that it says it takes longer, but my God, you're just like running, slowly putting like one shell at a time into your like 6-shell shotgun. You're like, oh my God, it's so slow.
Oh no. Yeah.
So I'm curious how big of a difference it is.
I bet it's better. That sounds horrible right here. I think I'd die infinitely more times on survival at this spot because it's just so intense in this section. There's so many coming at you so fast. It felt like.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. So from here though, you wake up, you get up and you head into the station to try to help. Along the way, you find a boy named Sasha, who's, I don't know, 10 or something, maybe younger. And he kind of like gets on your shoulders and you fight through the monsters that way. Ultimately, you make your way through the station, finding the other survivors, including Sasha's mom, who will offer to give you money for saving him, which you can choose to accept or not. And then from here, you go out back to the surface.
I have to say, before we move on, that kid, I hated that kid so much. I hated him. As soon as he gets on your back, and even just the fact that once he's on your back, you move differently, I was like, oh, I already hate you. So you have this kid on your back, and the whole time he's just talking, and he's kind of repetitive, which is a thing that really bothers me in games whenever someone just says the same thing over and over again.
My uncle, this.
Yeah, I don't care. Or like, shoot them. I'm like, oh my God, stop talking to me. And then, so you kind of have running through this tunnel. And then, so I got stuck in the environment at one point. So I'm trying to like free myself. Like I'm like jumping around. I'm trying to jump. I'm turning in every which direction. I'm trying to walk. I cannot get out of this piece of the environment that I'm stuck in, that my character is stuck in. And the dogs that are coming at you just keep spawning. Like it's not like, oh, if you kill them, they're gone. No, they'll just keep on spawning so that you have to kind of like run through that area so that you're, trying to get through quickly. So they just keep coming. So I'm jumping, shoot, jumping. So I'm already annoyed. I'm like, oh God, I'm stuck. I'm gonna have to restart this section. I'm already mad. But this kid is in my ear going, behind you, shoot them. Behind you, shoot them. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh my God, that's
like, I'm so mad. And then finally I was like, just kill me. Just let the dogs kill me. And then I just restarted. But I was so mad. I was already annoyed. I was like, there's this kid on my back and he's slowing me down and he's annoying. And then he would not stop talking while I'm already frustrated that I'm stuck in the environment. So I hate that kid. So you're going up to the surface and he's like, the sky, it's amazing. I hope you don't fall. I'm like, I would drop you. I swear to God.
Oh, that's super funny. That is annoying. I would be really annoyed by that too. I didn't like this kid either. And actually, as a side point about the kids in this game, they all like really creeped me out. They felt like to me it felt like it was the animation of adults, but they shrunk them down, and then they took like an adult's voice and tried to make it sound like a kid's voice, and they really fucking creeped me out. I did not like them at all. Like every kid I saw, I was like, I hate you. You're weird.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, they had that annoying like trying to be a kid voice, like where you're just like talking in a high voice, and it's really annoying. Yeah, no, I hated all of them.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I was like, I don't know, animate your kids different. Hire one kid actor to do like voice lines. Like, I don't know. I didn't like that at all, and they weirded me out. It felt like it wasn't the same, but it gave me like Chucky vibes or something. Like I was like, ugh.
Oh yes.
I hate that. I hate this.
They kind of have like mushed faces like Chucky too. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah, ugh. Didn't like it. So I was glad after this interaction that you don't have to see many children.
Yes.
But, oh, yeah, I would be so frustrated to be stuck like you were, though. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I was very happy to give the kid back to his mom. I'm like, you don't need to pay me. Just take the kid.
Just release me from this hell. I hate it here. Yeah. No, that's amazing. So you do leave, reunite the kid, whatever, and now you're above the surface. But where you come out on the surface is where the Nazis' above ground base is. And so you've got to fight a lot of Nazis here, actually. You do quite a bit of fighting on the surface here with people, killing your way through the ruins, which I thought this was kind of interesting to see. It gave me vibes of like World War II movies, of like, I don't know, something like Stalingrad or even like Saving Private Ryan, whatever, where you're like fighting house to house and like it's all fucked up. It felt like that here, which I thought was kind of cool because everything's just bombed out and ruined. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But fight your way through the ruins, and you make it into Black Station, which is another terminal. And when you're there, Ullman sneaks up and like kills the guard that was in front of you, and he gives you his gun that has a silencer, and he gives you night vision, and he says, okay, meet me on the other side of this depot, and then we'll be able to escape. You kill your way through this station, and you join Ullman at a cart to kind of continue your journey.
Yeah, that was good. I think that was probably the most stealthy I was in the entire game, was that section where most of them, up till like the very end there, when there was a few of them around a campfire, and I was like, I can't pick you off. Like, I don't have any way to like distract you or like pull somebody away. So then it just got shooty McShoot. But for the most part, that whole section, I like stealthed and just took them out one by one, which, it's super satisfying.
Yeah, totally agree. That was my feel there as well. Finally, you get to Paulus. At Paulus, you get taken to Miller. You give him Hunter's token. You've done your journey. Like, you've got that feeling. I definitely felt I got here, I did it. Like, I defied logic or whatever. Like, it seemed not great to be setting out on this journey at the beginning. I'm not really capable. I've never left my station. Now you've gone through. You've made it. You get to Miller. You give him Hunter's token. Miller calls a meeting with the council, who I guess are sort of the leaders of this community, and shares what you said and shares about Hunter. And the council decides, we don't want to help. Our war with the Nazis is more important than these monsters. Are we really going to take a almost like hillbilly kid from a station down the way seriously? It's just a fairy tale. They're just scared of monsters or something. But no, it's not real. We don't need to worry about it. We have more important things, basically.
Which I don't really get. Like, even if why wouldn't they believe you? Like, the monsters are coming towards the station and they're going to take the station out. Like, they know that monsters are real. I did not understand that. Like, they could just say, like, no, that's not our priority. We have other things. But they were like, no, you're being, basically said he was being dramatic. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, I don't know if anyone can be dramatic in this world. Like, your world's fucked up. What do you mean?
Right.
Yeah, so they just kind of said, like, yeah, fuck off. I know you did all this game before this to get here, but we won't help. Sorry, guy. But Miller says, well, the council won't help, but I still will. I believe you, and I'm with you. We have to take care of this monster problem. How else are we going to function? Which, cool. Good. I agree. And so Miller gets you kind of on our next leg of the mission, which he says that he thinks inside the Moscow library there are documents that will lead us to like old secret plans of the military from before, with military or with missile stuff that they could basically blow the surface up and that would kill all the monsters for them. So they kind of think, yeah, radiation and bombs and stuff may have caused this problem. Well, what if we just do it again and it'll kill them all? Kind of thing.
I didn't think of it that way. That's funny.
And so we were like, okay, cool. Sounds good. We'll do that. So you and Miller and a couple other rangers head out to the library. On the way there, on the surface world, I think you're with two other rangers and Miller. One of the rangers gets killed. Another one gets hurt badly, but is okay. And so Miller leaves you to yourself and is like, hey, you need to finish this mission. I have to get him back. Since I have a chance to save him, I have to try, kind of thing. And so you're like, okay, cool. And so you enter the library alone, and Miller gives you some warnings about the library. And he says, just so you know, inside the library, there are these monsters that we call librarians, which are essentially like giant gorilla-like monsters that are big as hell and can just fuck you up super easy.
Yeah, that sums it up. And then he says, basically, don't fight it, but don't run away, because as soon as you turn your back, they'll just kill you. So you kind of have to, like Mario with the ghosts, pretty much. Like, you just have to, like, stare them down and, like, edge your way over a little bit, or just stare at them long enough until they're, like, basically get bored. And then they're like, meh, I'm going to go to this other section. They, like, leave you be. And I was doing that. And then there's a door that's like half busted up that you have to like shoot to get through. And then it's the library, it kills me that they're called librarians. Uh-huh. The librarian got like clipped into the way. Apparently he ran at me, clipped into the way. And then I accidentally shot him. And then I was like, no. And then I was like, I'm looking at you. And then he just killed me. He didn't care anymore after I shot him. I was like, oh, come on. I was so mad.
That's funny. I tried to do this part and I ignored Miller's advice. So I had no. Yeah, I fucked up. So I like try to kill them a few times and just get wrecked. None of my guns are good enough. And so I was like, all right, plan B. I'm just going to run as fast as I can through the level. And so I'd try to run to the room and like I'd run through a room and then I'd get to a checkpoint and get killed. And then I just kept doing that to make my way through the library. It was such a scummy, shitty way to do it.
Oh, that's funny. So you would just make it far enough to checkpoint again.
Uh-huh. I just kept doing that. So I just run as fast as I could until I died. And if I ran into a bad room and ended up at the same spot, I was like, okay, don't turn right, turn left or whatever. It was so fucking scummy. Like, but I was terrified.
I like this section a lot just because it was different from everything else. And also, as soon as there's something that you can't fight, like it ups the tension a lot. And then every now and then there'll be one that like busts through a wall and grabs you like when you're not expecting it, and that's always scary. So yeah, no, I was very, very tense.
Oh yeah, me too. I was tense at this part and some of what comes next, and I was playing it at like midnight on a Friday or something like that. And so I was like, I'd stayed up and was just playing this section, and so I'm already on edge, and I also feel powerless because I can't kill anything. So I'm just like running through everything, just scared, and I'm like, fuck, librarians. Oh fuck, giant spiders. Like, oh fuck, I'm in a tiny space. Like, just kept happening. So the fear was very much so felt in this section for me, which was awesome. And I can imagine being you was probably even more terrifying playing on survival.
I don't know. I didn't know any different. Like, it was honestly it wasn't that bad.
Really?
I've been much more scared. Like, I had ammo. Like, it's not like I couldn't. It's not like it's like Resident Evil where you're like, I have 7 bullets and that's it. Like, I usually almost the whole game I felt like I had ammo.
Interesting.
And I had med kits, and I'm also very scavengy. Like, these type of games, I will like scour every room and pick up everything I possibly can. So I was almost entirely well equipped. So it didn't feel that bad.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder if maybe your whole game more felt along this, because for me, before this, it felt more first-person shootery, where I felt like I had more I don't know, freedom, or I could kill my way through problems. And this was the first time where I was like, I don't have any power. Um, and so then the environment like felt even more scary because I felt more powerless. I was like, I can only run. That's what it felt.
I mean, running would be scarier than like staring them down, because I'm staring them down and I feel like it's an action. Like I'm like, no, I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to do, and you're gonna leave me alone soon. Like they would like leap themselves to another floor, like through a hole in the floor or something, and they would leave you alone, and then you'd be like, and run, and then you'd find another one, you'd be like, okay, and then you'd stare them down for a bit. So that felt like an action, whereas just running the whole way through, I think would be scarier.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's kind of a power move. I should have listened to Miller. I think I made this more.
He took the time to tell you. He took his time to tell you and was like, listen very carefully. I'm going to tell you something really, really important. This is what you need to do. And you're like, yeah, fuck that.
That's exactly what happened. I was like, shut up, Dad. I'm going to do what I want. Yeah, I remember him telling me all of that, and I just didn't listen. I think I just saw the librarian for the first time. I was like, I want to kill that, and then I couldn't. And was traumatized. But yeah, this section was awesome. I really like this too. So you do make your way through the library, though, like we've been saying. And so you have to go through a couple floors. There's holes in the floors where the librarians jump through, like we mentioned. You can like duck into rooms where they can't get sometimes. There's sort of rotted doors that you shoot out along the way, like Katie mentioned earlier. But ultimately, going through this library for a while, you arrive where the documents are, and you get them. They are still in their filing cabinet there. You get them, and you manage to escape the library, which felt like a real breath of fresh air. Getting outside the library, I was like, thank God. Like it felt relieving to be outside, which was kind of surprising, but really effective. Fortunately, when you get outside, Miller's there with a car to pick you up. And he takes you to Sparta, which is his group's above ground base to resupply. You do this, and you get together a team of rangers. So this feels a lot like I don't know, you almost get like the Navy SEALs to go and accomplish this like big mission, and you're part of it, and it almost feels like you're tagging along. Like these guys are all like super capable ranger badasses, and you're like, I'm Artyom. I left my station for the first time a week ago. Like I felt like the noob for sure.
Yeah, especially for some, I don't know Russian names very well. Like I don't know what like the cultural context of the name Artyom would be, but to me it just sounds like oh, Artyom, like oh, that like lovable schmuck, you know? That's just the vibe I get from it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I feel like that too. I don't know the context either, but it's like culturally, but yeah, I like that. So you and the guys head out into some tunnels to make your way to a place called D6, which is the missile silo that the documents led you to. That, okay, if we go there, we might be able to get some active missiles. On the way, you have another kind of vision, and I think you've had a couple between now and Bourbon, but you get another one here that's a little more prolonged. And then before you kind of cross into the next section of the tunnel, a anomaly kind of chases you and you escape. From here, you have to fight your way through some sewers to get to the missile center. This was pretty cool. I like this. This felt like a bigger version of that Last Stand fight you had earlier, except now there's more guys with you and kind of chaos going on. Lots of monsters. You got, I don't know, 6 or 7 guys who are all there shooting along with you. I thought this section was pretty fun too.
Yeah, for sure. And is this where the like scorpion spiders show up?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Much?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Especially because there's all these holes in the wall that they come out of. So, and there's a lot of them. Like, there's a lot of holes. So you're looking around and you're like, oh, God, where are they going to come from? Oh, God, where are they going to come from? And then also, there are parts of the environment, there's like egg sacs that are like moving a little bit. So I'd be like, oh, God, is that one? Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. And so mainly you just had to listen. Like they announce themselves pretty clearly when they come out of the holes, but still, I didn't like it.
Yeah, me either. It was gross. And playing this also at night after being going through the librarian part, I'm still very tense and like, ugh, gross monsters. I hate them. Gross spiders. Ugh. And like their acid or whatever they have that gets you. Yeah. Gross monsters here. But you do make your way through the sewers ultimately and arrive at the missile center. On the way to the missile center, in these fights too, you lose a couple of the guys you're with. So your, guys you're with is thinning out. And when you get to the missile center, you need to reactivate the power to it. And so you've got to go to different things, pull levers. There's a part where you're on a crane that was a little bit annoying.
Oh, really? I did okay with that. I didn't have any issue.
Really?
It was fine, but I didn't have an issue with it.
Okay.
I got it done. Okay.
You did? Okay. Nice. That's awesome. I did bad at it at first. I was like, what the hell? What am I doing wrong? So I just kept getting those balls shot at me or whatever.
So this is the section where for the first time in the entire game, my filters ran out.
Oh, shit.
And it's like the sparsest area for filters. Like there's less dead people lying around that you can grab a filter off of. There's not a lot of them. So I am literally maskless because the filter is so out that he just pulls the mask off and he's just gasping and I'm running as fast as I can to try to get anywhere. And I'm like, where am I supposed to go? Where am I supposed to go? And then I would die. And then I'd be like, okay, let's try again. Run. And I'd die. And then I'm like, there's probably a half hour left in this entire game.
Right, yeah.
And I am screwed. And I don't know. I somehow managed. Although you're, the NPCs, they move so slowly. So I'm waiting for this NPC guy to come up the stairs to hit the button so that I can go through this door. And I'm like, come on. As he's slowly ambling his way up the stairs. I'm like, I'm dying.
Oh my God.
Hurry up. So I would just make it to kind of like you in the library. I would just make it to a checkpoint. And then I'd be like, okay, let's do this again. And it would basically start me off as no mask and starting to die again. So I would just be like, run. Yeah, no, it was a disaster.
Oh my God. Wow.
So the end of the game was very frustrating for me, especially because it wasn't an issue. I never ran out of filters ever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh God, I have none. How did this happen? So.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that was a predicament.
That's rough.
Even at the end, climbing the tower too was the same thing. I was just booking it.
Fuck. Yeah, because you don't get any more supply chances really after this. It's just what you happen to find, right? From here on.
Yeah, I found a couple filters. There was not a lot, or a random mask. So every now and then I would get one. I'd be like, oh, okay, which is kind of. I wouldn't have minded a little bit of that, not to that extreme, but a little bit of that, more of that sprinkled through the game where you're like, oh, thank God I got a filter. Because it's, I don't know, it emphasizes the environment and what you're supposed to feel in that setting. And which I didn't feel. It was just oh, I have to change my filter. And I would just change it because I had tons. But that was the first time in the whole game that I was like, oh, thank God I found one. Okay, we're good now for 1 minute.
Oh man, that's crazy. That I would be really nervous. This part, I would be like, shit, am I gonna finish this? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was this morning, and I was like, I have a pod to do tonight, and I have to finish this game, and I keep dying and suffocating to death.
I'm glad you were able to brave through it. It worked. Good job getting through. That's fucking intense. Yeah, I feel like if I got stuck there, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to watch the last half hour on YouTube, baby. I don't know if I can make it. And I'll just confess or something. I feel like that's where I would run into. But I knew earlier I couldn't do something like that since I was 2 hours in. I was like, I can't watch a whole game.
Yeah.
I've never done that before on a pod, but I'm willing to if I get to the end of a game and I was like, maybe I'll do it and I'll just own it. But it hasn't happened yet. But if I was fuck, I know there's 30 minutes left. Like, I know I'm almost there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's intense. That's wild. So, yeah, ultimately, though, you do get through this, huffing and puffing, for Katie. And
Yes.
you and Miller have to go to the surface because the two other guys are doing stuff with the computers. They can, like, set the missiles off and stuff, but they need you to get to the surface and get as high as you can, basically, to give it, like, a high point signal so the missiles know where to go, I guess, basically. So you and Miller head to the surface, and you're back where the game started. All hell's breaking loose on the surface. You've got the herd of monsters doing the swarm. Other guys show up, then get killed quickly. You look like you get killed by the flying monster. It's a shit show for sure, but you and Miller escape, and you head towards the tower. There was a part here, actually, where I did think I wouldn't finish the game at this point. Because there's a part where I ran out of ammo. And so there's a part where you're, like, running through the herd. And I had, like, 7 shots. Something stupid. And, you know, you had to fight them all. Like, if you ran too far ahead, you'd just die.
Yeah.
So I like, got stuck for a minute. And then I had to go back a little bit and found, like, an ammo cache that had a bunch of stuff. But there was a minute where I was like, fuck, I know the game's almost over. Am I going to have to quit? But it was fine, and I made it. And you and Miller make it out of your mayhem and make it to this tower. You climb this tower, and as you're climbing the tower, the flying monster is attacking you, trying to, like, go in at you. And the tower's sort of set up where, I don't know, there's ladders, but then there's sort of debris. So sometimes there's, like, real staircases, and sometimes there's sort of makeshift ones. Sometimes there's boxes that offer you protection. Sometimes you're vulnerable and open. And definitely makes for some tenseness here for sure.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. That you're trying to, like, weave your way around all this stuff while climbing. And I am, you know, gasping and wheezing my way up this tower. So I am just running as fast as I possibly can every second. But yeah, no, it was a cool, the way they had laid it out, it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. In this, as you make your way to the top, Miller gets hurt by the flying monster, and you kill the flying monster. And Miller says, you have to continue on to the top. Like, here's the thing, you have to make it to the top. Here's my radio. Radio them to when to set off the missiles, kind of thing. So you make it to the very top of the tower. You set the guidance system up, but then you have a vision. And it's of the aliens or monsters wanting peace. And it's them talking to you in your dream, like, don't hurt us, we want peace. Like, sayings kind of like that.
So this went right over my head because all I heard was, like, stop him, he's going to destroy us. I don't know if I was just, like, in a rush and I was like, yeah, whatever, monsters, because I had no filter and I was, like I said, gasping and wheezing my way up that tower, that I was just did not notice that at all, that they had said anything remotely resembling that they didn't want to fight or that they wanted peace. So I just missed that.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it does start with, like, what you said is he's going to hurt us. So it starts sort of that way, and then I think the longer they talk, they say, we want peace, or, like, things related to that. And then in your vision, Hunter hands you a pistol and says, kill anything that's hostile. And then you shoot the alien. Your vision ends. Also leading up to this vision, there's, like, a vision puzzle, right? Where you're walking through, like, objects that aren't there exactly. Like a bridge sort of forms, and
yeah, it's like a cave that's, like, forming in front of you, kind of. Or, like, almost like a labyrinth. Like, high walls, and you're kind of running through. And then you would kind of turn a corner, and then there would be, like, a monster at the end. So you'd have to run the other way. And then, turned into, like, a cave that was, like, empty air. But then the cave would kind of form as you were walking. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. I like that a lot. Anytime stuff like that is in a game, like for example, like Control. Like I love that game for especially those sections where it's a little surreal and the environment is changing. I always think that's really interesting. So yeah, I like that a lot.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, it was interesting. I didn't see this coming at all. And it was yeah, strange. Different from the whole game before it, for sure. I guess depending on how your ending has gone to this point, you can potentially have the option to defend the guidance system, like shoot at the monsters that are coming, or you can choose to destroy the guidance system. You just like kick it off the tower instead, because this message of peace like rang true to you, and you decided, I will do this. I'm thinking we probably got the same ending, but how did yours end up ending?
I did not get an option, which I did not think that I was a bad person. You know what? I refused the money from that mom of the annoying kid. Other than that, I don't know. But I was like, oh, you didn't even give me the option? I guess I was terrible. I probably would have just, I think I would have defended the thing anyway and still launched the missiles. Because, I'm sorry, I take that with a grain of salt of these monsters saying they want peace. But, like, it is just like hell on earth. They just know that I'm coming for them. Like, that's not necessarily the truth, but, like, that's how I would feel. Like, no, they know I'm about to destroy them. So they're like, yeah, no, we just want peace. Like, don't kill us. Because they know I'm about to do it. Like, I don't think I would take their word for it. Like, in real life, I'd be like, nah, you're lying. Like, you're going to kill me right after I don't do this. So, yeah, I think I would have done it anyway, even if I was given the choice.
Yeah, it does seem convenient. It's like you're telling me not to, but it's like, well, duh. Of course you don't want to die.
Yeah, you've been trying to kill me this whole time. So, funny how that works out.
Yeah, exactly. I had the same thing as you, and I didn't get an option either, actually. I found out near the end of the game that there was a moral system in it, and there was a good and bad ending, and I was like, what? I don't know if I've done anything good or bad, and I'd clearly just done all the bad things. Like, I took the money from that mom, and, like, I think there's other things you can do subtly along the way, but I didn't get the option either. So mine was launch the missile as well. In the launch the missile sequence, so the missile goes off, it kills the monsters, and Artyom makes a comment like, we had our crazy war and we did what we needed to, but did we really do the right thing, is sort of how it ends. I guess the good ending, or quote unquote good or good moral ending, is you kick the receiver off, it doesn't go, the missile isn't launched, and it's sort of this thought of, it turned out the monsters were always trying to reach out to me. I'm glad I heard them, and maybe our futures can be better, and I don't think I'm the only person they've tried to reach out to, or something like that. So, I don't know.
Also, if Artyom comes back to all his people and he's like, look, guys, the monsters spoke to me in a vision, and they said they want to be friends, all those people are going to be like, yeah, okay, like, please, go home. Like, Artyom, who are you? Like, come on, it doesn't matter. It wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I'm not convinced on it either. I'm sort of surprised this game has, like, I don't know if there's things either I missed or lore that I don't know or whatever, but the way that this game played, I feel like launching the missile is the only thing that makes sense, and I'm sort of surprised that this would be their message. Sort of like the monsters want peace, but they've spent their whole time trying to kill you. I don't know. It doesn't quite fit for me, at least.
Yeah, I didn't really feel personally any like groundwork for that happening until like the very end, and it's like, oh, okay, all of a sudden.
Yeah, I agree. It felt like it was. I didn't feel that groundwork either, and so I don't know what they could have done to get me to choose the other way. Like, I think they would have had to build it way earlier, way more often. Like, the visions you'd have at the beginning of the game would have to be pretty clear, I feel like, for me to be like, are we doing the right thing? But by the time it happens, like you mentioned a minute ago, it'd be like, Well, yeah, of course you don't want to die. I'm like about to kill you.
They would have had to bring in a creepy little monster kid who was a little annoying, who was like, "But I have a family and I want to go back to my mother." They could have done something like that, I guess.
You're like, no, it's Sasha's voice actor. I'm gonna destroy you.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I'm not doing it.
You're out. No, that's funny. Let's see. Morgan on Twitter wrote in and said, the first time they got the bad ending. Second time, after trying, they did get the good one. So I guess they did the moral things along the way to be able to get that option. And then Oleg on Reddit said, bad ending. It was very well written. I love the camera zoom out and look at what you've done and thoroughly feel bad about yourself. I wish I would have wrote down the little monologue RTM had at the end, because they do after the explosion happens, and it does sort of give this "we won, but at what cost" kind of thing. And I liked the monologue there. I thought that was good. I enjoyed that. And even though like I felt justified in killing the monsters based on my experience, his monologue made me say, maybe not. I don't know. Was it right? Like, it made me question it a little bit.
Yeah, it was like a more interesting ending than if he was just like, I did it. I killed the monsters. Like, instead it was a little like introspective beat of him like atop of this tower with like this massive explosion underneath him, and he's like, what are we doing here? So yeah, no, it made me think at least. So I was like, oh, maybe. And then Roscata on Reddit, I had the good ending because I got enough morale points. And Least Radio on Reddit says I got the Ranger ending, which is the ending where you launch the missiles.
So that is Metro 2033. I've gone through the story. So from here, we'll move into general thoughts, just any other stuff we've got about this. So one point I have that I feel like you've feel different on, since you mentioned it earlier, but I liked a couple of our side characters along the way. I know you said you didn't really care about anyone, but I kind of liked my little time with Bourbon, my time with Khan, my time with Miller. Each of those people I was interested in. Really, everyone else, like you mentioned, I didn't really care about. But those three, I was kind of like, I like my time with you, and I would have taken more time with you being my companion.
I would agree that those three were the most distinctive ones. I still didn't really care about them. But outside of them, I was like, all of you people are just temporary blips while I'm running through, and I didn't really care. Generally speaking, I didn't really care. Yeah, Bourbon was like, I was like, oh yeah, you're kind of funny, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, those three, especially Bourbon and Khan, at least they spoke differently. Like, they seemed to have their own personality. Whereas once you got into like Miller and Pavel and I don't know, remember their names, but there's a couple other ones that I was like, I can't tell the difference. Like, I wouldn't even know which one you are.
Yeah. You sort of got where it could be like generic Ranger, almost, kind of thing, or generic whomever. So I would agree with that for sure. One more thought I had was this game reminded me a lot of the game Resistance Fall of Man. Did you ever play that?
I have not played that.
Okay. It's a PS3 game. I think it was one of like the launch titles back then. Its premise, it's like a first-person shooter like this, except the idea is that there's like chimera, like aliens that come, and you end up kind of like killing your way through everything, and it's sort of your story, but then you play the story, sort of like RTM here. But it felt really similar, and so there are a lot of points through this game that I was like, it really reminds me of this other game, and I feel like they must have influenced each other in some manner, almost, of how it made me feel that way, even though they were different. But like if the books came out before Resistance, and then Resistance was inspired by that, and then this game was inspired by that, or I don't know, they reminded me of each other a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I haven't heard of that one, or at least I don't remember. Maybe I would like remember if I saw the cover or something. But something I liked very much was all of like the kind of survival elements that made it different from another first person shooter. Even just like you have to, it wasn't always executed perfectly with the gas mask and the filters, but like the gas mask and the filters you have to worry about. You have to, and also when you're wearing it, that fact, like I said, that it gets cracked, and also that it gets like specked with things like blood or water or whatever, and that you can like wipe it off. It's just like a cool thing that they do. You have your battery level that you have to manage that you can like charge up. And also a couple of the weapons you have to like charge in between on top of reloading. There's just like a lot of different things that makes you more aware of everything, like that you, all of your inventory and like what you have. And if you're low on your battery, is your light going to go out? Like all of that I really liked. Like I said, I think it could all be executed a bit better, which makes me really intrigued for Metro Exodus.
Yeah.
I feel like it would probably be a big leg up, and I would be really interested to play it because it's a lot of like kind of like little mechanics that they're playing with, and it's tricky to find the balance on those things. And then also just the environment's really cool, and it adds to it. Like I said, the gas mask kind of adds to it. It makes it a little like enclosed, like you feel kind of, I don't know, it feels more threatening when it's like, oh, put your gas mask on, and then you can hear yourself breathing. It just adds to the feel of it. So there's a lot of things I really liked about the game, in spite of my critiques.
I like that a lot too. I would love to see how these games evolve. Like I definitely want to play Last Light in the future and then play Exodus later too. Like I feel like this is a world I'd like to go back to, and like you mentioned with your inventory, I feel like maybe, I don't know if it's the best, but I feel like it's one of the games that uses their inventory the best. Like we commented on earlier about the guns, like you actually use all your guns, or like all your inventory is important. I feel like sometimes in games it can get to the point where you only use the one item, or you can just ignore items that you just have in your inventory. They don't matter. This game really made you use all of them, and that they all each had little things that you liked about them. And so you're like, oh, cool, I'll use this one in this situation or whatever. And I thought they really landed on that. I'm impressed with that, especially for being kind of an older game. I feel like this game came out like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think I like had to interact with every part of like all the mechanics that they had there. Like it's not like you could just ignore your battery or ignore this. Like I'm pretty sure all of those buttons on the HUD I had to push at one point or another, and I made use of them, which is nice. You're right. It's not just like tacked on elements to tack things on and like add to it. It's like, no, these are all important to the gameplay. So yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
Do you have other general thoughts on the game?
No, not really. Just that I at times was very frustrated because like more than once I got stuck in the environment. I had I think 3 hard crashes out playing on PS5. I don't know what's going on with that. And maybe it's a PS5 issue that it's just like something's not going well. But yeah, no, like 3 separate times hard crashed me out of the game. And I'm like, and the checkpointing is actually pretty good though. It's pretty frequent. So I wasn't like set back a ways. I pretty much kicked back in right where I was. But still, it was like, come again. I'm just trying to play this game. Just let me play the game.
Right. I forgot about that. I had a hard crash out once too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's not like, obviously that's not like, you know, an actual game critique. Like it doesn't, I'm not going to say like, well, you know, it's bad because it crashed out. Like, no, it's a good game. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but it added to my frustration when I was already frustrated with something else. So then that kind of like soured me for a few minutes, but then I got over it.
No, yeah, for sure. Mine only happened once, and it was kind of early in the game, but it was, or no, it wasn't early. It was later. I crashed out when the anomaly came when you were with Miller and all the Rangers. It crashed out there for me.
Yes, me too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. When you're on the cart and you have the flamethrower.
Uh-huh, yep.
Yes, right after you kill them all, and the anomaly is at the end of the tower. Yeah, that's when I crashed out too.
Weird. Okay, so they must have something that's actually fucked up there. for us both to crash.
Yeah.
And I played on PS4, so it wasn't like a PS5 issue.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I don't, that's weird. Maybe we have to write a letter to Metro and let them know.
I sent my report in, don't worry. It'd probably run better on PC, but yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like any criticisms I have with this game, it's like, I liked it a lot. I want to play more. Like, I think it very much so did its job. And I think, too, the like environment and those sorts of things, like, I definitely am interested in this world, and I think it's cool. Like, not a lot of games probably would make me want to read the books they're about, but this one definitely does. So that's pretty cool in itself for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, it's not my favorite game. I don't think I would hard recommend it to people, to be perfectly honest, but I really want to play Metro Exodus because I feel like that would be really, really good.
I heard Exodus also gets like semi-open worldy, like not full open world, but you get a little more of that, which sounds cool.
Okay, just like the environments are bigger.
Yeah, I think so. That's my guess. The way I guess someone didn't specifically tell me this, but the way I imagined it is how like in the beginning of The Last of Us 2 when you first get to Seattle and you can like do a little more. That's how I imagine.
Okay.
That's how I imagine it being. But the person I was talking to didn't say that. That's just how I picture that, because that felt a little more open worldy, but not real open world. But it gave you like
for sure.
It gave you a taste of what open world can be like, or something almost. So I don't know if Exodus will go that route exactly, but I heard there's a little more, which I'm intrigued by and would love to see. Like, I don't know what happened 10 years later, 7 years later, like as they've developed more and perfected the elements they introduced here. I mean, it sounds cool. Cool. I have one final thought on the game, which is if you want more Metro 2033, both of our friends, the Left Behind Game Club, have an episode on this. So highly recommend checking them out. We've both podcasted with them a couple times. They're great people, and I'm definitely excited to hear what they thought about this game after playing it myself.
Yeah, they have a great pod over there. And yes, I'm going to have to fire that one up and see. Because I may have listened to it back then, but it was, a little detached because I hadn't played it. But yeah, I'll have to listen to that episode for sure.
Yeah, whenever they do episodes on stuff that I'm like, I think I'll want to play this, I'll just kind of save it in the back of my mind of like, all right, I'm going to go back. And so, yeah, It'll be fun to go back to this one. Cool. Lastly, we've got a little bit of listener feedback to wrap us up. So we've got a leg on Reddit who says, I've read the books before and was pleasantly surprised at how it turned out. Transporting the atmosphere into a shooter and making Metro come to life is no simple task, but they nailed it. So that's cool. That's great to hear.
Rogue on Reddit. Unpopular opinion. I like the OG Metro 2033 just as much as the Redux version. The OG one has just this feel that fit Metro, which is probably created by the old gen graphics it had. Also, shooting is a lot of fun for some reason. It's hard to explain.
That's cool that they enjoyed both versions of how you play this game. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then last up, we've got the Confident Nail on Reddit, who's got a bit of a longer comment, but they bring up the three important parts of the Metro games. First up is the player experience. When you play for the first time, the game makes sure to give you, at every step, the appropriate feeling of a dark, dangerous, and unforgiving world, and the more you deepen yourself in the difficulty levels of the game, the more immersive the experience is. When you dare to play on Survival Hardcore Ranger Run, you are getting maybe the most immersive, unforgiving, extreme experience in all of gaming. Actually, I want to pause along the way. Did you play on a hard, what level did you play on?
Just medium, like the standard difficulty.
That's what I did too.
Oh yeah, no. First time playing a game, I am not bumping it up to that. No. I will start it at the base level, and then I'll see how I feel. And if it is a game where it's adjustable mid-game, and then if I'm just like, no, I can't do this, I'll bump it down. Or if I'm just like running through, I might bump it up. I probably won't. But yeah, I usually just play on the standard default difficulty.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm not. I play on normal, and will move easier if I need to. all forgiving about easiness in games if I need to. I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to enjoy it, so if I've got to play on with bumper cars, I will. Okay, their comment continues though. They say the world building. While playing the game, you will be at every corner interacting with a new piece of the world build. From the very few moments when you observe what life was like in the metro stations, what Moscow looks like, to how the different people and ideologies are organized, created their own mini societies in a game that make sure to create a unique and compelling world. Definitely. And then lastly, the books. While not everyone is going to be interested in opening a book as others, the game's design and the way it presents every next level you play through makes it really tempting to pick them up after you do it. You are going to be stuck in your seat for hours, not only with the story, but the details it presents about the Metro universe as a general thing. That's cool. I like hearing these comments from some of the people who like the books. I think that, like, playing this myself, I was, like, interested in the books, but hearing other people say it, I think I really need to do it. I think it would be worthwhile, and, you know, this universe is certainly cool, so...
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't know how many there are, how long they are. I know nothing about them, but I'm gonna look into it for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how long they are either. I think I was reading a little bit, and I think there's 3 books. So I think there's Metro 2033. That would be, I think this story is basically that one. And then there's 2034 and then 2035 also. And I was doing some reading, and I guess the author helped make the next game, Last Light. And apparently, like, he's writing, like, whatever they fit in Last Light he liked, but he had more, so then he made it the 2034 book. And, like, went more extended, I guess. So...
Oh.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting. Like, I think that this one is just based on his game, but he didn't write any in it. But then he came in for game 2, so I don't know. I imagine Metro lore and people who are really into this probably have a lot of cool stuff to say about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I googled real quick. It says that they're about 400 to 500 pages. Not on the Google users review, 97% say they liked the book.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'll have to pick it up.
Yeah, and 400 to 500 is not bad. That's like...
Yeah, that's like your standard, like, in-depth, you know, book. Like, there's a lot to explore there. There's a lot of stuff to cover, so I wouldn't expect it to be a short one.
Right, yeah. No, yeah, I agree. And also not picking up, like, a monster like Game of Thrones or something, so that's that's nice. That's cool. Yeah, that's... I guess all I've got about Metro. Do you have any other things you wanted to hit up?
No, that about covers it.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast getting to talk about Metro with you. It's fun reliving this. Again, where can people find you on the internet? Cutscenes, anything else you want to plug, whatever?
Yeah, Cutscenes is available on, you know, all major podcasting platforms. Like I said, we talk about video game movies or TV. You know, if you want to hear some people, you know, talk about that, have some takes, make some jokes, and have a good time, then check us out. And I am on Twitter. I am Lesperak, Lesperak. And that's about it. Yeah, that's all I got to plug.
Awesome. Perfect. Also, that will all be in the show notes too. So, yeah, go check out Katie and Cutscenes. It's an awesome podcast. It's great stuff. Yeah, again, thank you so much for coming on. People, for us, if you want to look into the backlog of our episodes, you can do that wherever you get podcasts or on our website at TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com. Our Twitter is at StoryEverPod. You can talk with us there. Love to talk more about Metro or any other games you want to talk about. That would be cool. Our Patreon is patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. For as little as $1 per month, that will get you access to bonus episodes we do each month where we cover things in games. Like recently we talked about our favorite openings to video games, or we've ranked our favorite Walking Dead characters from Telltale's games, you know, whatever. Stuff like that. So if that interests you, check that out. And yeah, that is the show, and we'll see you next time.